Okay, so I changed it a little bit. I'm going to do that volume profile that we've been using from the beginning of June and forward, but the date you gave me, July 21st, because between the dates that you gave me, the profile is really thin and there's nothing above value, and it's kind of not a great example, which neither of us knew that would happen. So we'll just do this. So I'll pick that arbitrary date of the 21st to trade, quote unquote trade, and we'll start with a fixed ranged volume profile. Okay, so I'm going to bring it to that breakout candle. Looks good. And then we'll bring this one to July 21st, right before trading. So let's say this is on East Coast time, so I'll put it to the 6 o'clock candle, 6 in the morning before the trading day. Okay, so this is our profile. So the white is value here, and the pink is out of value. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to try to visualize my HVNs, okay? Or visualize our balance zones. So I see this as a balance zone here, okay? I mean, this kind of whole thing is, but there's really large HVNs or LVNs there. So we're going to treat this as a balance zone here, and then this is another little one, and then this is another little one, okay? And then we've got a balance zone out of value here and a balance zone out of value here. So the first thing we're going to do is pick the LVNs that separate value. Okay, that's the first step I like to do. So here's value, here's out of value, here's the LVN that separates them. So we're going to mark that one. It's super thin there. We're going to go from here to, looks like it goes down to maybe about here. Okay, and then with like the lowest part kind of being right here. This is super, super thin, so which would also be really choppy. So sometimes when there's a lower part within the LVN, I like to put a second box just to remind me intraday of where the deeper part of the LVN is. So like that there, and then I'll put really tiny ones right there and there. I'm not going to make this look pretty just for sake of time, but it will all work the same. There. Okay, so that is our LVN out of value. Separating those balance zones, okay? Now let's go to the top and find our LVN out of value that separates it from value. All right, so there's actually kind of like this like little HVN right at that border. So I'll put one here, but then I also want to know this one here. Basically what I'm looking for, what I like to tell myself when I'm trying to do this is what LVNs are going to tell me that price is not accepting the liquidity above, or what LVNs are there that price will tell me it's not accepting the liquidity below. Okay, so there's that one. But then we kind of have this LVN here right before value that's going to be really significant. So we'll put one there as well, because that's going to tell me if price is possibly going to liquidity out of value. Okay, so we got those done so far. Now sometimes it's really confusing with these, right? So sometimes I'll like to like squish them up, pull them apart, just kind of helps me visualize everything. So here is our point of control, and then this from like here, about here to here is a balance zone. So something that I like to do when I'm looking for which LVNs separate it is I'll just kind of start doing this, dragging my calipers across. And then when I get to LVNs that are on either side of the balance zone and are around the same depth, I go, oh, look at that. This is around this depth. This is around this depth. So those to me are two primary LVNs. So I'm going to put boxes there. Okay, so we look like we go from about here to here, but then I have two smaller LVNs, right? The deeper parts right here and here. And since these are in value, I like to make them a different color. So I'm going to make this one white. That goes. Yeah, make that. I'm trying to see where's the deepest part. So see when I put my caliper here, I can see this, 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 and this are kind of the deeper parts. So I'll actually put that there. Okay, so there's that one, and I want to mark this spot as well. Okay. Okay, so that's our LVN down there. And then we want to mark our LVN up here. So this one is so symmetrical, which is nice. Makes it easy. So there's that, but it kind of correlates. Let's see. I'm so sorry. I was actually looking to do this one up here, wasn't I? I got ahead of myself. Okay, let's delete that. Yeah, we need to do this one up here. Okay. So that's my primary LVN there. That separates that balance zone there. So you have volume that builds here and then here. I'm sorry, builds here and it builds here. So for the taper. Okay, then this little balance zone here looks like that one separates. These two are similar in size, so we'll mark both. Okay, like that. And then we have this little balance zone up here, and it looks like that one separates. Okay. Okay, so now we have all of our primary LVNs. Okay, but I need to somewhat know. I'm going to try and not take too sneaky of a look. It's the 20th. I just need to know about where price is so I can get into more detail in that area and not make this too long. Okay, so price was like about here on the yeah. Actually, that's 6 in the morning, that the 21st. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark LVNs that are not primary but are going to help me keep track of things that are basically from here to here, pretty much most of value, but not all of it. And we will go from there. Okay. So LVNs that I see is really important that I actually might take a trade off of is this LVN here. Even though it's not a primary LVN, there is a significant volume shelf above it and below it. So I'm going to mark that because that could mean basically travel from this balance zone to this balance zone. Okay. And then I'm going to mark this one, and this one in different colors, as well as like this spot right here in different colors. And those are just going to mainly help me keep track of a trade. kind of help me see the progress of price moving. But they might not be ones that I actually take trades off of unless during the day, intraday, it's just starting to really become very, very apparent that that's all that price is going to do that day. Like sometimes you'll get a range day, and those stupid range days where price is only going like, gosh darn, like 10 points or something, 15 points, whatever. And it starts to become really apparent that there's just not a lot of volume and price is trading in that range. And so you're going to use less significant LVNs for um, taking trades, but that's not super common, but it does happen. Okay, so there's those ones. All right. And then I was going to mark the ones that kind of tell me price is working down through the volume in the HVN here. Okay. And then one of the last things I like to do, which is not always apparent, but it is here, so it's a great example, is an LVN in the center of an HVN. Okay. So what that will cause sometimes is like sometimes you'll get price traveling up, it comes to here, it bounces down, comes to here, kind of range until it gets enough volume and boom, goes to the other side. Or sometimes price will bounce back and forth in a balance zone like this, right? And you can use this middle HVN as something really helpful, knowing if price is like, so if price is like going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then down hits that LVN, then bounces, you've got a higher low. So I'll make that a different color as well, just so intraday I kind of know what it is in the back of my mind. And you just, you come up with your own colors over time. So I'll make this green color. Okay. Okay. So there's some of our stuff. And of course, price might pause when it gets here on the outside of the HVN. It might pause when it gets here. Of course, all those things can happen. But what I'm mostly concerned about is taking trades off the primary LVNs. Okay, so let's save this. Go to a 5-minute. Let's see if any of this worked, because I did this really fast. Because often, what I'm really doing when I'm doing this is like I sit with the volume profile, I squish it together, pull it apart. Where are the balance? Like I really think of things. I do LVNs and then sometimes I switch them. And then I'm like, no, that looks like a balance zone. Like you just over time, you start to go, okay, there's the balance zone, there's the balance zone. It's not a 5-minute process. But once you got it all set, then you have those LVNs and the profile set for that time that price is in that general area or in that volume profile. And then you only have to fix your LVNs a little bit as price travels through them. Then it's really fast. But the initial like I am starting from scratch always takes me a while. Takes me sometimes even a couple of days. Like the second day, I'm like, you know what? I see what price did there in the past. I see where it is now. I think like this HVN because it has, because sometimes the HVN will have like a lot of volume and then a little break and then a lot of volume, like we were just looking at where there's a shelf, a break, a shelf within one balance zone. I'll see those and I'll kind of do something with it. So it just takes time and practice and what you prefer and that kind of stuff. Okay, it's supposed to bring me to July 21st. There is. Oh goodness. And of course, I thought price was lower and I made all the LVNs down below. Okay. So, let's see. Let's go back And we're gonna go up to 46.38. We're going to go up and draw our LVNs up to 46.38. Okay, this will be fast. Make these white. Okay, so if price does travel up, this is why we mark these LVNs here that separate value, because if price travels up out of value, then it's going to probably range in that small, low volume part out of value. Okay, so there and there. Okay, and the other one separating that next balance zone is here. Okay, so there's our LVN separating balance zones, and we actually kind of have one here. So I'm going to put one, yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to put a minor one at the ledge just to kind of tell me where the ledge is. All right. And then I'm going to put one in the middle of the HVN because there's that one right there, kind of like we did before. And then one there. Whoop. Take a look. I think I'm going to extend that one to there because that could really kind of halt price. And I'm going to put one, a minor one, at this shelf. I'm going to put one more minor one on top. Where that lower volume part is. That lower volume part is. Okay. And we'll save and then we'll go back and look. Okay. So there we go. So there are our LVNs to take trades off, okay? So here I have the LVNs that separated value. So here's that white one that separated value, came up, almost got to the next LVN, but didn't. Now remember, these are, when price is out of value, these are really low volume areas. So price is like all sporadic and tends to do range and weird things. So unfortunately, this probably wasn't the best example either, but at least it's an example of something more difficult, right? So here is a trade off of this LVN up to here. Again, travels up to here and hits the next major LVN. Here's a trade here, 3-bar reversal up to the next LVN. Here's one down, and here's a second rejection, 3-bar reversal down, and then at the end of the day, it consolidates right underneath. So this actually did end up being pretty good setups that day. I don't know if I would have taken this, maybe. or maybe I would have waited to see if it actually fell through here. But I do really like how that turned out for that trading day. If you think about only taking trades from, we'll make it really bright here, from the primary LVNs. So here you have a 3-bar reversal and then continuation up. Maybe I would have taken that. Maybe it's a little messy to me because it's all in these LVNs. Maybe I would have waited. Came up, retest. This is great. Love this setup here. All the way up to the next LVN. And then we have a 3-bar reversal rejection and then a lower high all the way to the next LVN. And then a beautiful 3-bar reversal setup right at primary LVN all the way up. I probably would have tried to take this. Hopefully I would have set my stop above the wick. If I couldn't afford it, then I might have gotten stopped out, but then came a lower high. That's a great trade there. So this is a great trade here as long as the stop was up here. This is also a great trade all the way down, not quite to the main LVN, but it does come up, make a lower high, and then back down to the LVN. So it could be one of those things where you take this trade, right? It starts to reverse, you take profit, whatever, but then you see that you have a 3-bar reversal that makes a lower high and you get all the way down to the second LVN. So I'm not going to count these. Let's count this one. So 1, 2, 3 and a half and a half. So maybe 3 to 5 really great trades, depending on if you went for the lower high right there.